The intelligence, the awareness, the consciousness of being spiritual is transcendent. It's not to put down all the different sciences and studies of the world and the star systems. It's to say that the moment of enlightenment, you know more than the professors at Stanford, a number of whom I love, or whoever. You see the whole world as a fabrication. It is a mirage, it's an illusion. So therefore, there are no facts of experience. In other words, you have to day-to-day do something, work with something. You can be a scientist, you can be whatever, but you're always going to see through everything. We all do what we have to do. We get up in the morning. It's like in Zen, they call it chop wood, carry, chop wood, carry water. It's like, in other words, you have to do your day-to-day. You have to move with the rhythm of the earth to stay alive. We all do certain things in our work life, in our home life. And the illumined, or generally that I've known, are like a housewife or something called a housewife. Whatever, someone who is, just the people around her trust her, and that she's precious, she's wonderful. Like my buddy here, she's a dream. You're in touch with God. And it's quite a wonderful state of awareness. And very, very rarely will you get the respect or admiration from people in the right sense toward that. And you yourself will never openly state your case. Point is, it doesn't matter where you are or what you are. It's people have experienced this, like Pierre Desjardins, was he a geologist, something with back in the First World War, where he wrote all these of his mystical visions he had in the trenches in the First World War. Point is, you can be anywhere under any circumstance. But once we step onto this, once we're moved to step onto this, we already were there in the beginning of time, before time. Everyone in the world who is spiritual, who will be illumined in the near future, has been illumined, has always been spiritual, and there's nothing wrong with us. It's not about original sin, it's about original innocence. In other words, the sensibilities of this, the sensitivity, again, it's very similar to falling in love. It's just, everything lifts from you. Imagine the entire world lifting from you, all the pain, all the tragedy, and what replaces it is just so real. It's so real, it's so good, it's so wondrous, it's so you. If you're here at this point in history, in other words, the world is an absolute illusion. Once you experience your spiritual, the infinity of spiritual joy and happiness and fulfillment, and you know you're in touch with God, it's a very humbling experience, and you're not running down the street excited and starting a movement. Once you've experienced this around the clock for 13 years, then you can have something to teach. I used to call it the Jesus of television. I have all these people on TV clamoring about God, and many of them have had some experience, one day, an hour, 10 minutes, 5 seconds somewhere. But until you felt this every day for 13 years, and it's never moved from you, then you have something to say. Then you have something to teach. And those 13 years are wonderful, because we're touched of God every moment. God, the angels, our grandmom, whoever, and they're all the same person. I hope you understand that. The ones you really love, once they drop the body or this experience in the world, it's so wonderful. My mom is my teacher. My friend Kathleen is my master teacher, just a friend, because the absolute humility. When you meet someone like that, or like Rachel, of absolute humility and kindness and always trying to do the right thing, and the world never accepting it as being right, well, at a point you just have to not accept that, but you have to get beyond your feeling you have to prove anything anymore. And it's not, I don't care. You don't care because it's not relevant to the warmth and decency and beauty and kindness and unimaginable intelligence of being near God. Point being, from beginning to end today, is there is a God. We are God's light in a darkened world, at a darkened time. If we understand that, all the tragedy of our life, a love that went wrong, a relationship, a career. We'll see why it happened and what we get out of it, and we'll move forward with a different kind of pride. We're not broken. And if we are broken, then the spiritual are much stronger in the broken places. You learn something about the world, about God and the devil. It's quite wonderful. Again, from the beginning of this message till the end is there is a God, and we are God's absolute eternal reflection, and there's nothing wrong with us. Everyone in the world is spiritual, arrived in this plane of being, whatever you want to call it, in this mirage, to change it. And the only way we could change it is from within. We had to understand the way it works, and we've all experienced the same tragedy, the same confusion, the same types of people working on our psyche to take our dignity and our honor and our self-respect away. And once we have this experience, you don't have to fight for your self-respect. You'll never have to prove yourself again. You know, in any circumstance you have to prove yourself, and when you're completely at ease and, like Mr. Skolta calls it, feeling safe in your own skin, comfortable in your own skin, there is a condition. It's called enlightenment, it's called you. So you accepted all the calamity of this world in order to understand how to communicate with it. And then walk away from any sense of guilt or responsibility, even though as spiritual beings we take on responsibility for anyone we may have hurt in our life. We do that even though we're innocent. I hope that makes sense. We have to do the right thing 24 hours a day. It's not a confused state. The experience of it is very humble and kind and wonderful. It's like being in love with the dawn. It's very childlike, and yet you have unimaginable awareness. And it all folds in upon itself and folds in upon itself. And one day you'll have the secret understanding of knowing that you will alter and heal all the lives of those that we really love, including ourselves. But we won't think of us, because we'll know there's a God, we'll know what the problem is, and we're going after it. And the moment we know that, nothing can touch us. Nothing. Thank you, Mr. Skolta.